You want to know how to make money in the Crew Motorfest, and it's my job to make videos on the internet for you to enjoy. And well, in this specific situation, it seems like you enjoy the idea of, well, owning every car in the game. That's what you want to get to, right? Well, this is my account. This is me. This is my account. I own every car in the game. On top of that, I've got 58 million bucks lying around on my way to hit the money cap. 99,999,999. So if you want to do that, enjoy this guide on how to become a multi-millionaire in the Crew Motorfest. Subscribe to follow even more Motorfest content and head on into the game and buy my helmet. Look, it's got my name on it. Look, see my name. Just like my real one. Look, see my helmet. Buy it. And make it the most bought clothing item in the game. Right, you want to make money. Check out the watch bar below to see the time codes of all the different methods. But to turn 600,000 an hour into 1.5 million an hour, the exact same event, by the way. Disclaimer, these were all tried and tested on live stream. The link to it is in the description. All of these methods were properly, practically tested. Well, to do that, you need this section right here. The tip. First of all, let's talk legend points. These are essentially the equivalent to icon points in the Crew 2. This is just points that you can put onto any of these gameplay boosts, like getting more points from drifts, or getting more points from skills, or even more powerful nitrous. How do you get these? It's pretty simple. You go over to the main stage, and you do anything. You do any of the things. You can do some challenges, you can do some events by just clicking on these specific things, the PvP, exploring, or doing events in-game, and level up here as well. Importantly, here mainly, because at the end of every main stage, what the game will do is it will add your level here, 2, 4, 4, and 4, if you have those maxed out, and it will put that as your main game level. It'll add it on, and that level is how you get icon points. Well, legend points. And here's how you maximize them. First of all, put them on rich. That's the main one you want. You want them on rich, because I mean, obviously that's the one that makes you money. And the next important one after that, now we're just doing money here, is pure, because these, any nitro related one basically, will just give you faster and faster runs. No matter what the method you're doing is, these stats count to every single thing in the game. So realistically, you want all of these maxed out, and then the rest of them is whatever. You don't need to care about those. You just want bucks as a definite, rich up here, and then every single nitrous related one. Tip number 2 is of course parts, and this one is going to get a little bit confusing, so follow with me. There's some things you already know. First of all, you know that you get parts by finishing events. You get parts based on what spec or specs you are using in that event. This event I did in Hypercar, so I'm gonna get Hypercar parts. This is also not affected by the difficulty of the event that you do. You could do this on 1 difficulty or 5 difficulty, you'll still get the same rarity of parts at the very end. Instead, what actually affects the part rewards that you get, and what you need to do while you're creating these sets, is put on more of the lucky affix, the increased loot quality. This is what will get you better loot. More of this, more golds. And golds are needed to build a set, because a set will not be activated if even one of those parts don't have a gold affix on them. And not just that, it has to be a matching gold affix. So you need to first hope and pray from the RNG gods at Ivory Tower that you eventually get a full Bucks set. This meaning that the white affix over there, that is Bucks Magnet. That you can't change. But once you've done that, once you've got yourself every single one with Bucks on it, then it's a different job you have. Because then it comes to recalibrating, which you do via having Bucks and spare parts. Spare parts are gotten by scrapping parts. This just simply gives you spare parts flat out. You can get a lot if you play a lot. You use spare parts and bucks to recalibrate by clicking this, and then just getting one of the affixes you hope, because the top one will always be different, And the middle one will always be the same affix, but on a different percentage. And we're going to use both of those, because once you get the affix you want, like this, you then use the middle one again and again until you get 3% as the maximum possible amount. This just counts for every single affix in the game, really. And then once you've done that, you go to the second part, where you will now go to find any nitro-based affixes, just like the legend points. You prioritize bucks, but then after that, you make sure to get a nitro-based affix. This should be either pure, refill speed, or frenetic. This, for one of the methods, kind of matters. However, the most important one, realistically, is pure. Once you have it, you just have to then max out, well, that one to 5%, which will take you a minute. But once you've done it, and then you don't have to do it again. If you want to see a more balanced set, well, the other spec that you'll need, because not only will you need Hypercar maxed out, this is a more balanced set where only 4 of them have pure and 3 of them have refill speed, and this one is on an Alpha GP car, the other car featured in some of these methods. But I prefer the Hypercar methods regardless, but actually there's a big special tip for Hypercar. So essentially, you can buy for only like 400,000 the Gordon Murray T50. This thing, very, very cheap Hypercar. Not only that, it is one of the best. Or you can buy for 450,000 this thing, the Porsche Taycan, and do the Electric Odyssey playlists. This will give you a bit of gameplay, and also it's one of the only playlists in the game that gives you a hypercar without actually having to own or buy a hypercar. So it's up to you. Do you just want the T50, or do you want to buy this thing, which will... There's the tip, basically. The T50 is pretty good, or buy this thing. And finally, for the both methods, when it comes to the cars, you want to save for the 110, as this will give you the best, cleanest runs. And you want to save for the Ivory Tower AGP R07, so that you can complete the Motorsports playlist, which will get you the Red Bull RB18. The Red Bull RB18 and the 110. These are the 2 vehicles that are most important for this video that you should save for. This isn't going to be reiterated again specifically, so jot it down now. And finally, tip number... the last one. Earlier in this very video, I was doing a race in a Ferrari, and I finished it and got this many bucks. But the interesting thing is, I did that race on my own. But, as you can see, I'm in a crew. Josh, say hi.
Don't use the Jaguar Luna Year Edition.
Yeah, well, when you finish an event in a crew, hopefully your crew members aren't too far behind. On top of the regular amount that I already showed you, instead you get an extra 15% bucks added on. But it will make some of the events more of a nuisance having to do them in a crew, but if you can just go consistent and you have friends, I guess, to play with, you will very easily get an extra 15%, which is one of the biggest boosts you can get.
If your friends make the event 15% slower,
get better friends, basically. That's
skill issue.
That's the issue. This also does not stack. I've tested it. You only need 1 other person in your crew to get the 15%. If you have 3 or 4, it won't do any more. It will stay at 15% just for being in a crew. And your friends will have to finish the events, because if they don't, there will be a 30-second timer at the end of every event when you finish it. But it is definitively how to make more money. Josh, are you ready for the final tips and then the methods?
I am.
Ooh. And finally, just a bit of logic to help you make sense and to erase any questions you might have. All of the events featured in this video, you have to have completed the playlist they are in to grind money in those events. As once you've finished a playlist, you unlock recalibration, where you can do an event in any weather, in any vehicle, with any kind of change to the system. To begin money grinding in those events, Donk vs Lowrider, you need to complete both sides of the playlist. And now, on to method 1. So, this first method is in the Vintage Garage playlist. You have to have the playlist finished, and the event you want to go to is Kiss Me Kombi, the 3rd event in the playlist. Once you teleport to that, you can simply make sure you're in the right vehicle, which is the Red Bull RB18. You select the Red Bull RB18, and here's what you need to do. You want to go over here and put on clean driving, as well as make it midday sunny, so it's dry, just an easier drive, basically. Now, nothing else in difficulty really needs to be changed. You can, in fact, put it to difficulty 1, so that it actually lets you do it quicker, because you don't have too much of an issue with the AIs. I'm gonna speed through this one because, well, this one's the worst of the bunch, basically. At around about 962,000 bucks an hour, this event, I'll show you what to do here. First of all, there's no way you're not hitting anyone or anything through this area. It sucks, but yep, there you go. Okay, that's annoying. But why is this event even here if it's one of the worst? Because it's the worst of the best batch. It's the 4th best money grinding event in the game. This event is still very, very, very good compared to other events. Still 900,000 an hour, 960,000 per hour is still very good, by the way. Here, I use half of my big tanker NOS. But the reason it's here is because this is one of the easiest ones to do with your brain switched off. You don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry about anything, really. You can just switch off your brain. Nitro here again, by the way, there you go. And just send it, really. The least thinking, the least anything that you have to do in any of the races coming up. Some of them really annoying. In fact, I would put Kiss Me Kombi ahead of some of the upcoming methods simply because of how easy it is to do. Basically, do you want to sacrifice a couple 100,000? Why did my wheels lock up? I wasn't even braking. What a weird bug that I've had this season. Would you want to sacrifice a couple 100,000 an hour for, well, a much easier to do event, you know, to have something up on the second monitor and watch that, or on your phone while you're doing something? That's the question, basically. That's where you're at. Especially if you've got your friends on prioritizing the crew bonus, which is of course going to make it over 1 million. That sets it over 1 million easily with the 15% crew bonus. All of which was explained in my tips and tricks section. With that quick 4th place out of there, let's move on to method 2. For Hummer Express, you will need to have completed the Electric Odyssey playlist, and then go down to Hummer Express, the 5th event in this playlist. That's the one you're going to. Now, when you're here, you want to obviously change your vehicle. This will automatically put it to custom and use hypercar, preferably the 110, although the Gordon Murray T50, the cheapest hypercar in the game, as far as I'm aware, will also do. You want to change it to midday sunny so that it's easier, as well as clean driving, as any other modification will take too long, despite the fact you will most definitely lose your clean driving bonus throughout the race. The crew bonus may help, but what you need to make sure of, though, is that rewind is off. This method will not work if rewind is on. So rewind needs to be off. And that might give you an idea of, well, yes, there is a specific route you're supposed to take. So, once you've got the parts, once you've got the recalibration, once you got everything sorted, this is the route. Straight away, you're turning around. Be ready for it. Go light on the throttle so you keep traction, and hard right turn. Once you're turned around, you can accelerate fully and just beeline it for the road at this back right angle. Once you're on the road, you're essentially going straight until you see the church. The church comes up at the end of this road over there. You go left at the church. There you go. Then you make your way to the bridge at the end of this, and all the way forward onto a much weirder shortcut. You want to jump right at here before this lamppost to give yourself ample room and make it to this road up here on the furthest right. Then respawn on this bit there. Now you respawn here, make your way over the dirt road. Nitrous if you saved it, preferably you did. You can get a bit of airtime, which is quicker here by doing that. Normally avoid traffic, it helps a little bit with traffic. And another shortcut is coming up again, because we really don't stay on the road for long. Around this corner, you go straight for the straight for the end, basically. That's what you do. You nitrous, you beeline it, you can nitrous on the jumps, get a bit more airtime, and you just make your way over. This one is an impossible to clean driving bonus run, so the extra 4,000 on average it helps. But it's one of the things that solidifies this as not the best method in the game for money grinding. But it still is pretty good, sat at 1.03 million bucks an hour without the crew bonus. So an extra roughly 15% added on. It's definitely a jump up from Kiss Me Kombi's 960,000. So yeah, that's how much you make from Hummer Express, but you do have to be a lot more focused to do that event. Now onto method 3. For driving in my Buick, you want to have completed the Donk and Lowrider playlist. This one, you want to go over to the Lowrider side, and well, it's the first event. That's this method. The vehicle you want to use is the Red Bull RB18, as it's the best vehicle for this event. You want to have on clean driving, and then you also, just like the previous method, there's a route to this one. So let me show you. So it starts off pretty simple. Now, the route I'm gonna show you is a little different to what other YouTubers show you. First of all, drive carefully. Round this corner, slow drive carefully, and then we'll wait till the first shortcut where I tell you, well, why I'm doing this. The reason I'm telling you a different route to other YouTubers is my route will make you more money, definitively, because this route avoids collision entirely. First of all, do not take this shortcut. Not only does it barely save you any time, but you get a much cleaner run. See, what people don't realize is you make like an extra 5 grand every time you get a fully completed clean driving bonus. And that adds up. In fact, that's the reason that the method after this is the best method in the game. This is the second best method, with an amount that I will say at the end when I can read it. One of the big things keeping it down is not only that it makes less, but the fact that it's harder to keep a clean driving bonus. That's what does it. Slow down a lot here, because there is very easy to hit poles at the end of that area on the right, and then you stay clean. Now, on this mission to get a perfect clean driving bonus to make you more money, it gets a bit more complicated, because this shortcut here you'd think is a lot more simple, the one coming up, but you want to go a bit wider. I'll show you the street lamps you should aim between. First of all, these two, all the way wide out here, and then over here, we'll just aim for these 2 street lamps. There. That way you hit absolutely nothing and keep your clean driving bonus. The hard right here is easy to miss, same with this right here. You know, memorize this area as it's annoying to consistently do. Slow down more than usual here, because it's a bit of a tricky one to get, but it will get you a bit quicker than just a hard right turn, so it's worth it to slow down and actually do it. Next, well, is a very open area. This bit is not bad at all, it's just a bit of avoiding stuff. It's also where I can kind of tell you that this event and the one that I just talked about, you do gotta do a lot more thinking. But you don't have to do thinking for shortcuts, as this one you will also skip, as it's too risky for hitting things. As you can see, we've still got plus 8,000, which is a lot already on top of the 40k we're making, and the clean driving bonus. It's just an issue that you have to focus so much for this race. Get round this area without touching anything, easy enough. The more harder one is coming up here. If you can do this, you're absolutely fine. Slow down here, go to the left of this, and get through that. Done, you're fine. Now there is nothing else left to hit. On this method, which requires more thinking than Kiss Me Kombi Method 1, however, it does make you much more money. Slow down at the end too, or else it won't register that you finished the race. But a 3:05 is a very good run, especially to get consistently. And as you'll see, we don't just make the extra 5,000, we make an extra 13,000 from that event, thanks to the clean driving. That is what other YouTubers aren't telling you. Unless they are. I don't really watch other YouTubers who make crew videos. But if they're not telling you, then that is what other YouTubers won't tell you. And that's why you should subscribe to SidWaj instead. We're driving in my Buick, by the way. You make 1,070 million per hour. So it's only on average about 40,000 better than Hummer Express. But they're both pretty terrible in how much you have to think and do, and that's maximizing for clean driving as well. So they're kind of on the level of Hummer Express. Probably worse than if you're not maximizing clean driving. But there we go. That's one of the brand new methods. But what if I told you this isn't the best method in the game? There is a different method which is even better and it's also in the same playlist. YouTubers just haven't been talking about it as much as they've been talking about riding in my Buick. That method is method Donkey! For the final and best method in the game, you want to have completed the Donk vs Lowrider playlist as well. Remember, you have to do both sides. This one is Get It or Donk Come Back, the third event of the Donk side of the playlist. The vehicle you want to be using is the 110, however, the cheapest type of car in the game, the Gordon T50, will also be pretty good. But 110 is the best one to do consistently. Now, the thing about this that makes it the best method in the game is clean driving bonus. How so? We're gonna set it to midday. Clean driving bonus on. Nothing else really needs to be changed. I'd say put it in automatic just because it's way easier and XP doesn't matter here at all. But this bit's important. Not 1 difficulty to get past the AIs. Not 5 difficulty to... I don't know why the hell you would do 5 difficulty when you're grinding money. Essentially, you want to make sure that you're using 3 difficulty. I'll explain why. If the difficulty is too low, this section of the race will take longer. Noticeably longer. If the difficulty is higher, this intro section of the race, well, it takes way less time. So you can't have the difficulty too low, or else, well, it's gonna cancel out, basically. But you also can't have the difficulty too high, because, well, sure, the AIs could win or whatever, but the bigger issue is that the AIs could take away your clean driving bonus. So I found the perfect soft spot in difficulty 3, where you don't have too long for this intro section, but also the AIs are slow enough that you can avoid them if you do this, because they will catch up to you and hit you if you don't. Now you understand the difficulty. How do you do this to consistently get a clean driving multiplier? Here is the method of Get It or Don't Come Back. You want to make sure you get at least 2 of the first nitruses. You don't need all of them. It would help, but you just need at least 2. Then nitrous first, make sure you get that. Then nitrous straight away. Brake a bit at the end, and then go around the corner, and nitrous again is straight after. That way, you will avoid all of the AIs immediately. They will not catch up to you, meaning they will not be able to hit you. Remember to brake in that section, avoid the cones there, and then nitrous right after that. And that is how you get an ever-consistent 30-second time, every time, with a perfect clean driving bonus, with the 4.5 thousand, added onto that, 3,000 bucks extra, giving you 7.5 thousand bucks on top of the base value, on top of your affixes, on top of a crew bonus if you have that. You can get up to 1.5 million bucks an hour in a crew on that event, but 1.3 million flat if you're not in a crew. In fact, I like these numbers are so insane because it breaks driving my Buick by over 200,000 bucks. 200,000. And a reminder here that all these numbers are tested in a live stream that you can see in the description of this video. It's crazy. Crazy. How good Get It or Don't Come Back is. 1.3 million. 1.3 million per hour. 1.5 in a crew. Whoa. So that's it. That's how you make 1.5 million bucks an hour. That is a full comprehensive money guide in the game. Now, if you didn't think about subscribing before, do consider that how much it would be appreciated if you did now. Leave a like, check out some of the other content, as I don't want to just be doing guides. I do entertainment content on this game. So subscribe so to check out that. And, well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for potentially buying my helmet within the video game. I'm gonna see you boys in the next one. That's about it from me in a bit.